We all get reactive sometimes. We can fight over nothing, say something we regret, or shut down, or even run away. Hello, friend. My name's Zach. Just like I said there, we all get reactive. But the reaction does not have to be the end of the story. See, you and I, after a reactivity, can have a do-over. Do-overs have helped me form better skill and honestly closer relationships. So I'm going to dive in to tell you how to have a do-over appropriately so that you can do situations over again. Because how many times a day do you need a mulligan? Because I need a few. All right, here's how we do it. Number one, we need to recognize that we got reactive. This should be easy, but it's not. Because when we're reactive, we've stopped thinking and we've started reacting, hence reactivity. And when we're in a reactive state, even though to the outside world it's plainly obvious, we've either shut down and we're in freeze, or we're running away into another room, or maybe you're a fighter and you're verbally sparring. To you, you might not recognize it. To the other people, they very much know you're reactive, right? What happens in those moments is we've gotten anxious, we've gotten anxiety, and when we get reactive, we are in fight, flight, or freeze. We have literally dropped our IQ to the level of a lizard, hence lizard brain is another way to say it. You can't think in those moments. It's not hopeless, but it's hard to recognize in the moment that you've got reactive. That's why after the fact, a lot of times you're like, what was that? Some little hints. If you're in a mode where you're saying, you always, or you might have a little quib comeback where you're like, oh yeah? You're reactive. Please don't say whatever you're thinking next. Right? Those are points where we know we're reactive. You're over-exaggerating what's going on. Always and never are pure signs that you're in reactivity. So recognize. Number two, apologize for our part. This can be tricky because when we get in a situation where we're reactive, we're reacting to something or a situation around us, and there's probably some blame on someone else or something else. And it's really fun to focus on that. But when we do, you cannot possibly have a good do-over because you're not reconciling the relationship. The only way to really reconcile is to apologize for the part we played. My friend, it takes two to tango. You played a part. It could be 5%, and the other person is 95%. Apologize for the 5%. But even when I've thought I'm 5%, I'm a lot higher than that. And so you probably are too. But when we admit it's not a sign of weakness, I know this is a vulnerable thing, but it's not weakness. It actually shows strength when we apologize for our part. And if apologizing is hard for you, I just wanted to say something. Apologizing does not mean you're excusing the other person's behavior, or you're judging what, oh, I'm 51% wrong, then I apologize. That's not the way apology works. When you're apologizing for any part you played, no matter how minor. You still played a part. Apologize for it. Number 3, ask for a do-over. Don't state we're having a do-over. If you are tempted to do that, you're probably still in a reactive state. You need to wait a little longer because that's a fight word. See, sometimes as you practice this do-over, you might be partway starting the rev up in the argument. You might go, whoa, time out. Let's do this over real quick. I totally messed this up. You could have a do-over right then. But if you've taken a while to recognize that you got reactive, you're going to want a little simmer a little longer before you do over the conversation. The reason is so that the brain returns. Stating that you're going to make something happen is not the way to a proper do-over. It's again going back to this place of vulnerability where you're asking the other person, can I have a do-over? Recently, I tried to have a do-over with someone, And they told me no. That was their right as a person to do that. Was that hard for me? Yeah. It means I really messed up. And so I simply said, well, if you ever change your mind, I'd love to do this over again. And it leaves that open door. Asking for a do-over puts yourself in the seat of humility, and it makes someone else a little easier for them to actually accept and have a do-over. Number 4, you may need some help. Like if you've been in a relationship with anyone for any length of time, there's certain areas that are a little stickier than others, right? Some areas might be very easy for you to have a do-over. Some areas you might have gone around the same mountain over and over and over with someone. Like I recognize for myself, I have a certain pattern of behavior that I tend to repeat. Doesn't mean I'm happy about it, but I need outside help with it. Same thing can happen in conversations. And so here's some resources real quick of where you can get help. If you're struggling to communicate in your marriage, there's Marriage Team, where people help coach you on how to communicate. You can enlist the help of a coach. There's coaches in every aspect of life nowadays. And you can ask them for some help with this conversation, maybe even a counselor, a trusted friend that will stay calm, that's not on anyone's side. These are just a few tips of involving someone else. I know, again, all these steps require this level of humility that can be difficult. But asking for help is not weakness, it's strength. Like most of the things with humility, it's actually strength to operate in it. Don't be afraid to ask for help. All right, the next step. Do you have anything to notice and name? Here's what I mean. If you got reactive about something, there's a reason for it. We don't just get reactive out of nowhere. Like you get in this point when you get reactive, you're like, whoa, where did that come from? And it can seem like it came from like left field. But my experience in myself and then working with others is that it didn't come out of nowhere. You just haven't recognized it yet. So take a minute and do some inventory. Journal how you feel. Don't guard those feelings. Just write them down. Look for patterns. See, a lot of times I struggle with this needing to be liked. And so I'll get reactive if I think I'm not liked. Another area I can get reactive about is I hate to be controlled. If I have a sense someone's trying to control me, I can go from 0 to 100 pretty quick. And I just need to recognize that those are triggers for me. And then to take it a step further, write down some reasons why. Like I feel this need to be liked by others because I don't want them to leave. In fact, if I'm in an argument and you run away, I can get even more triggered because I'm worried that you're not going to fight for the relationship. I know these things about myself because I've taken the time to journal, to record down how things stung. And for me, those things I bring to Jesus. And I would hope that you would too, that as you name the great hurts of your life, whether it's childhood, a parent, a coach, or a trusted friend, or even your spouse that you're currently married to, or a friend that's currently in your life, we hurt each other on this journey because you're a human and I'm a human and humans hurt humans. And it's when we bring those things out to the light, and Jesus can do something with it. And the cool thing about this part of the process, by the way, on the do-over, this one has a multiplying effect. Because the more you notice and name and bring things to light, you can quicker grab them when you're starting to get reactive. Also, God does this miracle work slowly over time, where some of your old wounds He heals. And the next time they pop up, you're not as reactive. And that is our faith journey. So I hope this helped you have a do-over for when you get reactive. Because my friend, reactivity happens to us all. But you can redeem a conversation by having a do-over. Have a great day, and God bless you in your journey.